Right now, law school applications are booming. This past cycle, applicants were up about 18% and applications up more than 20%, the highest volume in over a decade. The newest cycle's running even hotter, applicants up around 25%, one of the biggest jumps in 20 years. So if you're waiting for law schools to get desperate and start begging people to enroll, look around. It's not happening anytime soon. The line is longer than it's been in over a decade. But if you can zoom out for a second, there's a bigger force already baked in, pointing the other way. The number of 18-year-olds in America is about to peak and then fall for years. The group that projects this stuff, WICHE, has US high school graduates hitting a record high around 3.9 million in 2025, then sliding through 2041, roughly a 13% drop. And it's uneven. They've got college enrollment in the West falling about 20%, and the Northeast about 17%, while the South is the only region projected to grow a measly 3%. The kids who would be filling classrooms in the 2030s were never born because the birth rate fell around 2007 and never climbed back. And that might sound like a college problem, and it is in the short term, but it's also a law school problem too, just not yet. Now, the cliff won't hit every law school the same way. Some schools will barely feel it. Others are staring at an existential extinction level event. And if you understand which is which, this gives you leverage most applicants don't even understand. Now, I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005. I've watched application volumes swing hard, up and down, more than once. I've seen which schools panic when the pool tightens and which ones just shrug. The split is always the same. The demographic drop coming down the road is about to make it sharper. Now, the arithmetic really isn't that complicated. Fewer college graduates in a few years means fewer people sitting for the LSAT. Fewer LSAT takers means fewer law school applicants. And a law school that can't fill its seats only has two options. They can cut the size of the class, or they can lower their standards for who gets in. Now, at a law school where the median LSATs are in the 170s, and the very top, that means 170 to 174, they're not going to sweat any of this because they already turn away most of the people who apply. Even when the pool eventually shrinks, they've still got a line out the door. Fewer applicants just means a slightly shorter line. Their seats were never really a problem. But the schools in trouble are at the other end, the ones that were already stretching to fill a class in a good year, the ones whose budget runs almost entirely on tuition coming in the door, because there's no big endowment behind them to absorb a bad cycle. When the pool shrinks, those schools don't have a shorter line, they've got empty chairs. And if they've got empty chairs, they cannot pay their professors. So imagine the end game for a school that cannot fill its seats. Its options are all terrible. They could cut the class size down and bleed tuition they can't replace. They could merge into a parent university and hand over their name to keep the lights on, or at the far end, they could just close their doors. That is the simple arithmetic of a business that runs on this year's tuition check, and the demographic floor is about to drop out from under exactly those schools. Now, think about what a closure actually does to the people caught inside it. If your school shuts down while you're enrolled, you're scrambling to transfer mid-degree, hoping another school takes your credits. If it closes after you graduate, you've got a diploma from a place that no longer exists, and a loan that still very much does exist. Even a merger could still mean a name change, a leadership shakeup, and a school distracted by survival instead of your career. That is the real cost behind those dry words like consolidation. It lands on the student every single time. And so here's my read on this. It's not a fact, just my prediction. The next wave of closures and mergers will not come for the top, it'll come for the bottom third. The tuition-dependent, low endowment, already scrambling schools that were living cycle to cycle before the demographic floor dropped out. Now here's where this flips for you. A school that is scared of empty seats is a school with a problem they need applicants to solve. And if you are a strong applicant, you are their solution. Think about what a school in that position actually wants. Of course, they want bodies in seats, but they also want bodies that keep their numbers up because the numbers are what keep the accreditor calm and that keeps their ranking from sliding down. A high LSAT score does both of those for you, helps you fill a seat, and you also prop up their median. And so the tuition-dependent school won't just accept you, they will also pay you. They will give you scholarship money to pull you away from a competitor school because your score is worth more to their survival than your tuition is to their budget. The stronger your score is, the more the panic works in your favor. So before you apply anywhere, you can read a school's exposure to the demographic cliff yourself in about 10 minutes. The first thing you want to do is look at the class size trends. Look at the school's last few years of 509 reports, which are public, and you can look at the size of the entering class over time. If it's been shrinking year after year, that's a school that's already scrambling to fill seats before the worst of the demographic drop even lands. The 509 lays out the entering class size, so you can look at the last few years yourself and read the trend. The other thing you want to look at is how much the school leans on your money to exist. A school with a real endowment behind each student can ride out a bad cycle. But if they're running almost entirely on tuition, they can't. You're not always going to find a clean per student endowment number, so use the numbers that you can see. A school that's discounting hard, cutting its class, sliding on its medians all at once, is a school that is in danger. They're living on this year's tuition check. And when those signals line up, you're looking at a school that should be courting you, attracting you with scholarship money. And so don't walk into the cycle like you're desperate, like saying, please let me in. They need you more than you need them. You can win here if you understand that the leverage has shifted. You don't want to take the first offer at sticker price from a school that would have paid you only if you'd had the score and the nerve to negotiate. And so that's the real villain here, is the schools that keep smiling from the brochure, keep charging full tuition, and keep counting on you to not realize that they are in trouble and the numbers are dropping out beneath them. They'd rather you feel lucky to be admitted than realize you've got the upper hand the whole time, but you only have it if you've got the numbers to back it up. And while your GPA is probably already pretty fixed at this point in time, you've still got the LSAT scores, the one number you can raise significantly simply by retaking the LSAT. The law schools do not average multiple LSAT scores. They only take into consideration the highest LSAT score on your record. And if you want my help getting that LSAT score up, I'm happy to help you out. I'm offering free LSAT tutoring for everybody watching this now or later. You can book that free LSAT tutoring lesson with me at unpluggedprep.com/start. Links below the video on YouTube, pinned in the chat on YouTube, in my bio on TikTok and IG.